Thank you very much. I will now bow to my right and my left. And having done so, just to say that at this hour and second or minute, there's a situation that is dire. And that situation is the Israeli-Palestine conflict. And we should ponder the atrocities, thousands being killed, the bombing of buildings and these being razed to the ground, and the displacement and untold sufferings. Whatever your view, this situation deserves our serious thought and our consideration. And having said that, I now request delegates to observe a moment of silence for prayer or meditation. Thank you very much. Honorable delegates, before we proceed, I would like to remind delegates of the rules relating to virtual and hybrid meetings and sittings, in particular sub-rules 21, 22, and 23 of Rule 103, which provides as follows: that the hybrid sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, that delegates in the hybrid sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, that for the purposes of a quorum, all delegates who are logged onto the virtual platform shall be considered present, that delegates must switch on their videos if they want to speak, and delegates who experience connectivity issues are encouraged to use a still photograph for identification of the virtual platform, as some members already do, that delegates on the virtual platform are encouraged to log on with one device only, as logging on with two or more devices further lowers the bandwidth, that delegates should ensure that the microphones on their gadgets are muted and must always remain muted unless they are permitted to speak, that all delegates in the chamber must insert their cards to register on the chamber system, that delegates who are physically in the chamber must use the floor microphones, that all delegates may participate in the discussion through the chat room, and finally, that in addition, I would like to remind delegates that the interpretation facility is active. Permanent delegates, members of the executive, special delegates, and the SALGA representatives on the virtual platform are requested to ensure that the interpretation facility on their gadgets are properly activated to facilitate access to the interpretation services. Permanent delegates, special delegates, SALGA representatives, and members of the executive in the chamber should use the interpretation gadgets on their desks to access the interpretation facilities. Honorable delegates have been informed that there will be no notices of motion or motions without notice. This is in accordance with Council Rule 2291. Allow me at this point to take this opportunity to welcome the Deputy President. The same, of course, is extended to permanent delegates, MECs, and all special delegates to the House. Further, just to remind delegates that in terms of Rule 229 of the Council rules, the time for reply by the Deputy President to a question is 5 minutes. That only 4 supplementary questions will be allowed per question. A member who has asked the initial question will be the first to be afforded an opportunity to ask a supplementary question. The time for asking supplementary question is 2 minutes. The time for reply to a supplementary question is 4 minutes. The supplementary question must emanate, as we always try to remind members, must emanate from the initial question. So at this point, I will request the Deputy President to go to the podium and to answer question 19. Question 19, honorable members, is a question on revitalizing infrastructure in the agricultural sector. This question is being asked by Honorable Mkiva, and because he's not here, I'm told Honorable Nyambi will take responsibility, and this question is directed to the Deputy President. Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Let me greet all esteemed members of this House. Honorable Chairperson, accelerating land reform, rural development and agricultural support remains a priority of the African National Congress-led government. To demonstrate our commitment to tabling the 2023 budget vote in Parliament, the Minister of the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development announced the provision of more than 2 billion rands to assist farmers with production inputs and the revitalization and enabling agricultural infrastructure under the Rural Infrastructure Development Sub-Program. Furthermore, the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development will implement 83 infrastructure development projects in, amongst others, farmer production support units, fencing, animal handling facilities, and this was provided for in the 2023-24 financial year. Honorable Chairperson, we are implementing the revitalization program of agricultural infrastructure because it is a critical intervention towards improving agricultural products and food security. However, as government, we are not only investing in infrastructure or infrastructure needed for agricultural sector to be competitive, but also we are targeting support measures for farmers, including beneficiaries of land reform program, particularly to ensure that they become active players in the economy. House Chairperson, this is evident in one of the projects called the River Valley Catalytic Program, which focuses, amongst others, on irrigation and water infrastructure for agricultural products through irrigation schemes, construction, but also rehabilitation of rural farm access roads to the markets, because we know that in the rural areas it's very difficult sometimes to access the market. So we are providing, amongst others, this service as well. So, Chairperson, these are some of the things we are doing, and I do hope that it will assist Member Mkiva to know what we are doing there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. Our first supplementary question will come from Honorable Nyambi, who's a stand-in here.
I love you, Mama. Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Deputy President, for the response. We are encouraged that the ANC-led government has invested and continue to invest in infrastructure development. These include roads and rail infrastructure to transport agricultural products to local and international markets using particularly rail. Deputy President, in light of recent outbreak of avian influenza, which has impacted negatively on the ability of farmers to adequately service the market with chicken and eggs, what measures has the government adopted to mitigate its effect on the availability of the products and assist small-scale poultry to navigate the negative impact of the flu in the sector? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nyambi, on behalf of Honorable Mkiva. One of the things that I've mentioned before is the measures that are taken by the department to support farmers through what we call the blended finance scheme. This scheme is about 3.5 billion rand. So those farmers that are affected by influenza will get support from this program. I have been reliably informed, Chairperson, that the Minister and there's an association called Rural Development of South Africa Poultry Association, that they appeared before the Portfolio Committee to confirm that indeed support measures are being taken to support these farmers, particularly your small farmers or small-scale farmers. But of course, the details thereof are still being discussed with National Treasury to ensure exactly what that support will constitute. But amongst others, the recommendations that were put before the committee were that all affected farmers, especially small-scale one, will receive adequate compensation. I'll have to leave it to the Minister to come back to us about what adequate would mean, but it's really to ensure that we help them to revamp and ramp up production once again. And with respect to vaccination, the department is also assisting to ensure that there is registration of vaccines and that process is fast-tracked to ensure that farmers can receive vaccine to ensure that they can deal with this problem that is now affecting them from this influenza. So those measures are being put in place, and very soon the Minister of Agriculture will announce that package as to how much those farmers will receive, but we want to see them once again being able to continue to produce and to trade. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We proceed to Honorable Ocamp.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Deputy President, in your answer to the main question, you tried to give some examples of areas where you allegedly intervened to improve the revitalization of infrastructure in the agricultural sector. Now, you've mentioned something about the roads in rural areas. What you have ever failed to tell us, Honourable Deputy President, is what interventions you have taken to improve the road infrastructure in our rural areas where farmers battle to get their products to and from the markets due to a lack of proper road maintenance. You have failed to tell us what interventions you have implemented to protect the safety of our farmers who can't even get a tax rebate for the money that they are spending to keep them and their employees safe. You have furthermore, Honourable Deputy President, failed to tell us what interventions you have implemented to assist farmers to overcome the challenges led by load shedding. You have also failed, Honourable Deputy President, to tell us what you've done to improve the efficiency of our rail networks and ports, which in return will improve the productivity in our agricultural sector. Now, Honourable Deputy President, my question to you is, what are you going to do to revitalise the infrastructure developments of these matters that you failed to mention to us today? Thank you, Honourable Chairperson.
Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. The work by government to assist farmers and do work in rural areas is not new. In fact, if you look at as early as the 2022-23 financial year, you will see that the department had a lot of projects that they were dealing with. One of them, Honourable Member, it's exactly what you're talking about. It's infrastructure projects. Now, this infrastructure project obviously includes roads, amongst others, access roads for farmers. I've been reliably informed by the department that just in 2022, they had 440 of such projects that they are implementing. But also, in the year 2022, they also implemented a further 83 projects, particularly to assist with infrastructure projects for rural developments and farmers. They have also been involved in other projects, including access roads to farmers. We don't have the number for that, but a lot of money has been spent on this project. So I wouldn't say that we have failed as government to assist farmers, just that there's a lot of work that we need to do, but we have started, and as I say, not yesterday, but as early as last year already, and more of these projects are going to be implemented to ensure that all the farmers can have proper access roads. The issue of security is also being addressed. The department has been working with the Department of Police to ensure that they improve policing in the rural areas, in the farm areas. So, Chairperson, that work is happening.
Thank you very much. We'll proceed to the third supplementary question from Honourable Tafeni. Honourable Tafeni.
Enkosi Chairperson, greetings to the members. Chairperson, my input. Deputy President, most farming activities take place in the rural areas, and the lack of road maintenance in these parts undermines the viability of this sector. Deputy President, this is concerning to note if you take into account the farming sector transport more than 75% of its produce by road, as the rail infrastructure has basically collapsed. In my province, Eastern Cape, the province accounts for nearly a third of South Africa's dairy production, yet dairy producing organizations are struggling to move their fresh milk to market because of the dire state of the roads, especially after heavy rainfalls. What interventions has the Deputy President taken to repair road infrastructure across all rural towns so as to provide relief to the sector? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy President.
Honourable Member, we note your concern about the Eastern Cape. I was briefed by the Minister of Agriculture that the Eastern Cape is one of the areas which they are prioritizing, particularly with the problem that you have raised of access roads. And she indicated that, in fact, they have committed about 21 billion rands to do work, particularly in the Eastern Cape, where this problem is very pronounced, as you have indicated. So I have no doubt that this work is going to happen there, if it has not started already. But in the OR Tambo district, I'm told that some work has already started, and we can check the details of where exactly. But the amount of 21 billion rand has been committed already by the department to ensure that we deal with the challenges of the Eastern Cape. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Next is Honorable De Bruin.
Thank you, Chairperson. Deputy President, seeing as the AAMP and the budget for agriculture focuses mostly or more and are prioritizing mostly up-and-coming farmers, which contribute only about 9% of our food security, what plans, measures and strategies are in place to expand infrastructure to assist specifically our commercial farmers that contributes 91% of our food security? Thank you.
President.
Honorable Chairperson, commercial farmers are very important in the production of food. In fact, we regard them as a pillar for food security. So when I talk about the support for farmers, we particularly also include commercial farmers, particularly when you have problems of rain and floods in the farming areas. Obviously it's difficult for them to move products. So the department is quite conscious of the fact that we're not only looking at small-scale farmers, but also ensuring that the commercial farmers themselves have a conducive environment to be able to produce and to transport their products to market. So I can assure you that indeed commercial farmers are part of our support programs that we have put in place to be able that there's an ease of doing business for them. So we're not just going to focus on the small-scale farmers. We want to ensure that the commercial farmers themselves succeed, because they are the backbone of our food security pillar. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We'll now proceed to question number 20. This question is on service delivery intervention. The question is from Honorable H.S. Boshoff and is directed to the Deputy President. Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Boshoff, thank you for asking the question. Chairperson, in our previous responses, we clarified that government has no cadre deployment policy, legislation, or procedures. Nonetheless, the African National Congress, as a party, has a cadre development policy and deployment processes. And this is what we did after the democratic breakthrough in our country to ensure that we safeguard democracy and ensure good governance while assuring rapid and purposeful transformation. So the ANC was very conscious right from the beginning that we need to provide our people with necessary skills and capacity to be able to transform this country. Secondly, let me emphasize that the logic behind this process is to ensure that the most suitable are used in recruitment, prioritizing appropriate placement of skills, especially during the transition period and beyond. In fact, the honorable member might be curious, should know that these discussions actually took place in Lusaka even before independence. It was not new. Whilst we were there, the discussion was held, how are we going to govern? Let's start training our people. That's where the deployment policy comes from. Honorable Chairperson, I have also outlined to honorable members during our last appearance in the National Assembly that when it comes to the process of appointing mayors, speakers, members of executives in various municipalities that are led by the ANC, we ensure that the most suitable and qualified are the ones that are being deployed. Honorable Boshoff might be happy to know that, in fact, almost all of our mayors are being interviewed. And we don't just take whoever. We normally interview them, shortlist. The last 3 will be interviewed by the executive. And the mayors of the metros are actually interviewed by the top 7 of the ANC, that is led by the president. So we don't just put people and say it's deployment policy. Allow me, therefore, to say, Chairperson, allow me to remind those who question our commitment to professionalizing the public service that last year in 2022, government adopted a national framework towards the professionalization of the public sector. So we have already adopted it. Chairperson, in our view, the professionalization of the public service requires a non-partisan approach, which embraces the merit principle in staffing all our departments in the public sector. The ANC government has always argued for professionalization of the public service, and we are going to continue to do so. We have also previously stated that the challenges facing local government are also areas where we are particularly attending to ensure that there's good governance, that where there are weak institutions, that we deal with that, poor financial management, etc. So our policy is to ensure we deploy the best. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
First supplementary question, Honorable Boshoff.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honourable Deputy President, you could have fooled me. Sadly, the communication
Sorry,
is...
I couldn't hear that.
I said you could have fooled me.
Oh. Yeah.
Some protection, please.
Order, honourable members. Let's hear and make sure that the Deputy President gets the question from Honourable Boshoff.
Point of order, Chair.
Yeah, yes.
Point of order, Chair. In terms of the rule of the National Council of Provinces, to maintain and sustain the decorum of the House, Honorable Boshoff, when it's saying President could have fooled her, it's implying that the President is dishonest in his response. Whilst we have to enjoy freedom of speech, let's refrain from such utterances because it can compromise the decorum of the House. She's allowed to ask her question in a very dignified and respectful manner so that we can sustain the decorum of the House.
I think that the point is really like broadly noted. But I would really urge members to, okay, the noise must be kept to barest minimum. Members also should really do their utmost to ensure that we also don't take advantage of the opportunity to ask questions, to make small little speeches and so on. With that having said, Honorable Bishop, please proceed. Honorable Bishop.
Siyabonga, Sisi. Honourable Deputy President, sadly communication is the downfall because people don't know who to speak to, they don't know who to report to. In view of that, will you today undertake to establish a cross-functional team comprising representatives from relevant government departments, the local municipalities and community stakeholders to enable effective communication and collaboration among these entities, and to furthermore develop a clear and detailed action plan for addressing these identified issues, which should include specific goals, timelines, responsible parties, and allocated resources to prevent the possible eruption of protest actions. And then I would also like to request, Deputy President, you said that the top 7 of Cabinet are now interviewing your mayors in the metros. Can you share with us what is being done with mayors in the rural provinces? Because it is a dire situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Member, what you are proposing is already happening. Let me just brief you. The cross-functional team, I lead the district development model implementation that was announced by the President. And in that team also serves the Minister of COGTA, Deputy Ministers of COGTA, and when we go to the provinces, we invite the premiers, the MECs, and we invite executive mayors. But below that, you have a team of officials that include the DGs, the officials in the provinces, including municipal managers. And then we look at all issues of government across all 3 spheres. We have introduced a concept that is called One Plans, where we bring all the plans of the various spheres of government together in all areas and ensure that we develop a common approach. So that is already happening, and we can give you details if you're interested in knowing more about what we're doing, but it's basically to ensure that government works as one. It works as one. We have recognized long before you did that there's a need for this, that there was work in different silos by different spheres of government. We have now pulled them together. Lastly, yes, the officials do interview mayors for metros, and when it comes to other levels, the provincial executive committees, so what we call the top 5, in a province will do the interviews, including for mayors in rural areas. But there's something else that we have done at the level of the President. There are municipalities that we have realized historically that there are challenges. We do get involved as well with the President there when those interviews are done. So there is no mayor in this country that gets into office, if they come from the ANC, that would not have gone through this process. No one. Not even in a rural, small municipality. Everybody goes through this process. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We'll now proceed to Honorable Moima.
Ke a leboga modulasetulo wa kgale di province ya Bosetšhaba. Greetings to you and also the Deputy President. And honorable members in the House and also on the virtual platform and our guest. Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. I must, right from the onset, express our rejection with the contempt that it deserves, the false and negative narrative peddled by the information peddlers masquerading as the Democratic Alliance and their fellow travelers on matters of deployment and employment of people in the public service. The DA deliberately conflates two issues that are distinct and separate: the issues of deployment and employment, which is governed by various public service laws. Deployment mainly in the political office in government led by the presidency ministers and deputy ministers. Still, there are ministerial handbooks that governs the deployment in those offices. The transparent employment process and practices within government shows that the ANC-led government is committed to meritocratic public service through the appointment of qualified and experienced, skilled and capable professionals. It is also important to note that the Democratic Alliance in the Western Cape, upon taking over, many of our competent and skilled officials were dismissed. As you correctly pointed out, Deputy President, challenges in local government are multidimensional and are receiving the attention of our ANC-led government. Therefore, the question is, what actions has the government taken to make sure that smaller and rural municipalities attract and retain professional services with the requisite scarce technical skills needed to manage municipal infrastructure, especially in areas such as water management and engineering broadly? Thank you, National Chair. Thank you, Deputy President.
Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Moima. I think the important things really to emphasize, because I spoke a lot about what we're doing at national government level. Let me just maybe stress a lot that at local government level, there are institutions that we've put in place that safeguard the integrity of how we run government, particularly to ensure good governance. So you have municipal infrastructure support agents. I'm sure you may have heard about it, MISA. It's one of the critical institutions that is there. There's local government SETAs that are providing training. But SALGA, as an association of local government, is providing leadership in all our municipalities across the country, particularly to ensure that we must continue to ensure training, ensure that there's capacity, ensure that there's good governance. So I can agree with you more that, in fact, what you are saying is quite correct. And we are doing that, and we are going to continue to strengthen these institutions to be able to ensure that those that are at the local government sphere continue to provide ensure that there's good governance in those areas, because local government is closer to our people. If we have problems there, then we're going to have a serious problem of service delivery ongoing. But if we fix local government, we will improve service delivery across the board. Because most cases when national government goes down to local areas, we do that through our councillors. We do it through municipalities. So it is indeed our priority to ensure that we get things right at local government level, and we are doing it. And as I said earlier, I work very closely with the Minister of COCTA. We have been to various parts of the country, engaging with many of our leaders who are deployed at local government level. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our next supplementary question comes from the IFP, Honorable Khatib.
Thank you, Chairperson, Honorable Deputy President. A number of our legislations call for municipalities to ensure fair, efficient, effective and transparent personnel administration, and that public administration at all levels of government must be governed by efficient, economic and effective use of resources, as well as good human resource management and career development practices. CADA deployment has proven to be the fairest of the opposite of this, Honorable Deputy President. My question to you is, what balance do you intend to strike between efficiency, which is a requisite of the law, and CADA deployment, which your government has no intention to eradicate? Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Very much, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I think in many respects I may have answered this question. But let me just say once again that nobody is deployed in government unless they go through a very rigorous process. Let me give an example because that may help. If government advertises that they want a DG for agriculture, that advert goes out. If the ANC feels Honorable Dango is the best can be a DG, we recommend to him to apply like everybody else. So the process is transparent, and Honorable Dango will arrive and be interviewed like anybody else. And if he fails, he won't be appointed. Yeah, maybe it's a bad example if Honorable Dango will not fail. But yes, the point I'm making is that, and remember, this is not theory. I did work at national government level as a minister, where I was part of these processes. And when DGs are not interviewed only by a minister of that department. You must bring 2, 3 other ministers and deputy ministers, so you will be 5, probably including national DG. So when you do the interview, it's very rigorous. There are people who may have come and the ANC likes them, but they failed to get through. So we don't just say, no, you are an ANC member, please, go and be a DG. No, you go through that process. So if you were to ask in national government, all the DGs of all the departments, ask them how they got there, they will tell you this, that the interviews are tough. You go through them, we want qualifications, and once you submit your qualifications, they get checked. So in other words, there is a process of vetting that takes place. And once we're happy with the vetting and you have passed the interview, you get the job. That's cadre development policy. We not just take anybody from the street because they are ANC member and say, go and be a DG. No, it's never done. So don't be worried about cadre development policy, a very good policy, because it ensures that you prepare your people for these tough processes, you train them, and a lot of people are being trained in the ANC. We even have a school, O.R. Tambo Leadership Academy is there. We train people all the time because we want the best of the best to go and do the job. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
The last supplementary question comes from Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Shabangani.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson of the House, and greetings to all honorable members. To the Deputy President,
Don't I answer first?
my question to you is straightforward and to the point. The ANC has managed to state so poorly that it has cast doubt on all political appointments. In light of this, has there been any intervention with the rotation or rotating of municipal managers who have received adverse audits or fired from other municipality? That's my question to you, the Deputy President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. If I understood the member, you are worried that we rotate people who have failed somewhere and we take them somewhere else. I think that's what you mean. We don't do that. We don't do that, Honorable Member, because I think we would do a disservice to the people of South Africa if we were to do that. There is no single manager that the ANC would have taken who have failed somewhere and take them somewhere else. We have never done that. No, honorable members, even in Parliament, we don't bring in the NCOP people we think have failed somewhere, or in the National Assembly. We don't do that. Unless honorable member can give me a specific example and say, in this municipality, you as the ANC, you brought so and so who have failed in a municipality X. There is no such. No, there is no such. So, Honorable Chairperson, let me just say to the honorable member, no, honorable member, we don't do that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Honorable members will now move on to the next question, question 21. This question is on women in engineering profession. The question is from Honorable Njadu and is directed to the Deputy President. Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, in our work leading the Human Resource Development Council, we have made a long-term commitment to invest in skills and the skills revolution, especially amongst young women, the youth, and also persons with disabilities, in order to build a productive and globally competitive society. On the 25th of September, I had an opportunity to address the UNESCO Africa Engineering Week. At that conference, I interacted with engineer Ms. Refilwe Buthelezi. Ms. Refilwe Buthelezi is actually the president of the Engineering Council of South Africa. The CEO, Dr. Bridget Samula, and many engineers proud of their profession, and they are women. Ms. Buthelezi and her executive briefed me about the need to invest more in developing women. And let me say, Chairperson, that over the past few years, we have noticed growth in female registered with Engineering Council of South Africa. I'm told that in the past it was very difficult for women to register, but that number is increasing now. We have seen an average of about 35% year-on-year growth among registered female engineers in the database of the Council. Currently, there are also 7,000 registered women engineers in the database of the Council. We agree that there is a need to ensure that we deliberately target women to consider them entering engineering profession and encourage those who are not registered to register. Because sometimes if you complete your degree at the university, you need to take active steps to go and register. So we are encouraging them to do that. Empowering of female engineers is paramount in achieving sustained development and global competitiveness. As government, we are championing the implementation of several women empowerment programs, like, for instance, what we call Women Economic Assembly, WECONA, which was launched by the President in 2021. WECONA is a catalyst platform for women-owned or managed businesses or enterprises anchored on collaboration between the government, the private sector, and civil society. This is an ongoing initiative to encourage women to be economically active, to bring together the private sector, government, civil society, to drive change in the economic landscape. Honorable Chairperson, AgriSeta has identified several priority interventions as well from the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan that speaks to, amongst others, empowering women in the agricultural engineering and agricultural scientists sector. Together with the sector education training authorities, we will simplify the funding application processes to avoid delays in processing funding for third parties, which slows the government efforts to address challenges plaguing the women training sector. While the government continues to implement programs to empower women in the engineering sector, there is a need to address the structural challenges of social and gender equalities hindering their progress. As government, we provide social, political, and economic conditions for women to thrive, especially in critical engineering sectors, with our social partners and businesses. So we do work with the other partners to ensure that we can really strengthen the support for women training in this particular sector and be able to be placed in particular work opportunities or businesses in this sector. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you. Our first supplementary question comes from Honorable Njadu. Honorable Njadu.
Ndiyabulela Sihlalo. Ngalemva kwemini. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Deputy President, thank you very much for the reply. For the 3 decades, our democracy has created opportunities for women to be part of all professions, something which never existed during the terrible colonial and apartheid era. However, more still has to be done to further open some of the doors which are still closed for women as part of the ongoing struggle in our country, continent, and the world against the evil system of patriarchy and sexism is ongoing. Deputy President, my question, what role can the education sector play in attracting more women to study and graduate and professionally qualify in technically orientated professions such as engineering, land and quality survey, etc.? Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member, for the question. Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, I agree with you that we do need to create real opportunities for women to enter this sector. What we are doing at the moment with the Minister of Education, we have stressed this matter that when it comes to the field of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, we want to see more young girls going into that sector to be able to get a proper training. There is also a strategy that we have adopted as government called the Integrated National Strategy for Math, Science, Technology, Education. So that strategy is actually emphasizing exactly that we want to see more young women right from primary level going to colleges and universities going into this sector. Historically, we have seen a problem where a lot of young women were not going in big numbers into this sector, but that is now changing. We are seeing a lot of young women taking these subjects. There's something interesting I noticed when it comes to science, maths, and technology. I used to be the chairman of what is called Vincent Shabalala Education Trust, and every year we give bursaries to students who do well in 5 high schools in Alex. And every time when we choose the top 20 students, you'd find that almost 15 of them will be girls. And the results start from distinctions. Say, a young woman with 7 distinctions, including in mathematics. So this is now changing in our environment where young women are taking these perceived tough subjects, they are doing them, and they are passing them very well. So I would say, Honorable Member, the environment out there is now conducive for young women to get in these sectors, and the education system must allow that to happen. And I can confirm that the Minister of Education is doing exactly that. If you go to our schools now, before you even go to universities, you'll find a lot of young women who are in the STEM sector. doing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics courses. So I agree with you. Let's strengthen it. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We'll now move on to the second supplementary question from Honorable Detroit.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Deputy President, I'm quoting an article from the Engineering magazine. The South African Institution of Civil Engineering, SAICE, recently published its 2022 infrastructure report card, highlighting a critical shortage of engineering skills in South Africa as one of the key drivers behind the country's crumbling infrastructure. The group says that South Africa, especially in public services, faces a deliberating shortage of engineering skills, noting that the country has lost a shocking number of engineers in the civil sector over the past 20 years. While the country has made strides in transforming the technical sector, seeing an influx of black and female technologists and technicians, this has primarily come at the cost of mainly white male engineers. This trend has disrupted South Africa's skills mix with more technologists and technicians available than engineers, and has deprived new entrants into the engineering field of mentorship and skills transfer, the group said, close quote. Now, with this in mind, Deputy President, would the Deputy President agree that transformation programs doesn't work and must rather be set aside to ensure better and more equal participation by all engineers in the interest of job security and keeping expertise in the country? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy President.
Well, I thought that Honorable Detroit will say that transformation should be fast-tracked rather than done away with. Because if I want to agree with you about shortage, it's true. But when you have shortage, you don't set aside transformation, you fast-track it. We know that, for instance, when I spoke about women, that the number is low. So we agree, but I think other people say it's close to 13% of women. So we're now encouraging more women to go in there. But I think, Honorable Detroit, the gist of your question, if I listen to you well, you are saying that we are discriminating against white male engineers. You're insinuating that. It's not true. Well, you insinuated that we've got this shortage, but there are white male engineers probably overlooked. I don't think that's the case. When I was an MEC for transport in Gauteng, my head of department was a white male engineer. His name is Jack van der Merwe. I have never come across our government discriminating against white males anywhere. But let me tell you what some of them may have done. There was a time when, people who have been in government for long were asked if they want to take packages. So some did, took packages and they left. But we never came in and booted everybody out. So let me conclude it this way, that in South Africa, there is room for white males who are engineers. The doors are open. If they say to you that it's not happening, come and tell me that there's a problem and where we will intervene, because we can't discriminate. That's not how the ANC works. But we need to fast-track transformation to bring more of those who were previously disadvantaged to come in, particularly women. Let's bring them in. But white male engineers, by all means, you are welcome. Come and work with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We will now move on to the third supplementary question from Honorable Makwala. Honorable Makwala.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings to you, Chairperson of the House. Greetings to the members in the House, those ones in virtual like me, and greetings to you, Deputy President of South Africa. Deputy President, I only have 2 questions for you. You will see my questions will be much based in student female. Deputy President, the number of female engineers in workplaces is alarmingly very low. This mainly because the ANC government has failed to inspire young women to invest their time into forging a career in engineering, and there has been a general lack of information for students about how to diverse and fulfill opportunities in engineering. In light of this, my first question, what efforts have been made to ensure that the strategies and policies that are created are beneficial to all women, especially those with marginalized identities, e.g., race, living with disability, sexual orientation? Not just privileged women who tend to benefit more from these efforts. Second question, which form of support and funding initiative have been put in place, especially targeting female students?
Honorable
I'm done.
Makwala.
I'm done, Chairperson.
Honorable Makwala, you only have a right to ask 1 question. So that there's no confusion that creeps in as we move on.
No, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Makwala, it's not true that it's because of ANC policies that we lack women engineers in this country. It's a historic problem, and that I don't think we should shy away from accepting that it's a historic problem, which the ANC is now undoing through transformation. Where's Honorable Ditoy? Left. So exactly, Honorable Makwala, you are quite right that we need a strategy. I've already said there is a strategy in place. Already, if you look at basic education, more young women are taking STEM subjects. In universities, you now see more young women also taking STEM subjects. So that is happening to deal with this problem that you have correctly identified, that we have fewer women in sectors like engineering where we need them. But it is not true that where women are given support, we are selective. Because you are saying only certain women benefit. No, there's no such. Our women empowerment strategy is for all women of our country. All young women of our country, wherever they are, whether they be in urban or rural areas, they must benefit from these policies that seek to advance their careers, that seek to ensure that they can go into this engineering sector and construction sectors everywhere. And my answer earlier on demonstrated that the Engineering Council of South Africa today, the president is a woman, African woman, same as the CEO. So we are pushing hard to ensure that we open the doors for women of our country to be able to participate everywhere in the economy. And we shall not be selective when we do so as to which women must benefit, these ones can't benefit. No. All of our women of our country must benefit from the good policies of our party and our government. That's what we are doing, Chairperson.
No, thank you very much, Deputy President. The last supplementary question comes from Honorable Professor.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Deputy President, good afternoon.
Thank you.
In terms of what you have discussed with us now about students, 7,000 students of the Engineering Council and the Human Resource Council, and your transformation training, there is something that happened there, because there's an entity within Public Works called the Council for Built Environment. This entity is tasked with empowerment of previously disadvantaged groups and has specific focus on female engineers. A look at their annual report shows them proudly listing how many followers they have on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, and talking about webinars hosted. They have fewer followers than some of us in this room, in spite of their marketing budget. Deputy President, respectfully, with less than 7% of engineering graduates being women, in spite of this entity's expenditures of their full budget, will you commit to implementing more effective programs and setting better performance measurements that actually measure proper outcomes instead of counting the number of media articles that the department has achieved, but also to consider that people have choices. Ladies have choices to what they study, and we cannot force them into a study course if it's not in their line. Thank you, President.
Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Member, you are correct. We shouldn't force people. We motivate them. So when you create opportunities, you remember sometimes children avoid subjects because they think they are difficult. There are various reasons, but you don't force them, but you must create incentives, you must motivate. So in terms of our transformation strategies, it's also to create opportunities, show young people where the opportunities are. So the issue that we have fewer engineers who are women, we all agree on that reality, but we are saying let's change it. And government has started to do so by putting a lot of efforts on the STEM sector, a lot of efforts to ensure that particularly women go in that direction. But they have choices like everybody else. But I think it's important that when young people go and choose what subjects to do, they must find this to be attractive. And they can only find it to be attractive if they hear so, if they get motivated. But if we tell them mathematics is difficult, engineering, don't go there, or you tell them, no, this is for boys, we must stop doing those things and allow young women to go to what has been perceived to be difficult all the years. I've just given you an example of young ladies in Alexander with 7 distinctions, including in mathematics. So already they are breaking the barrier. And ours is to create the opportunity and ensure support for women to take these difficult courses head on. And we're going to see the number beginning to increase. And I think we will, when I was at the engineering summit, we agreed with the with the president of the council that we should help them amass more resources and support, including from the private sector, to be able to bring more and more women into the engineering sector. So we are doing it, Chairperson, and thanks for the question. We will continue to put more support on this one.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the next question. This is question 22. The question is on tackling youth unemployment Question is from Honorable Hadebe and is directed to the Deputy President. Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. On the 5th of October this year, President Cyril Ramaphosa officially launched the Border Management Authority in Musina, Limpopo Province. The launch of the BMA follows its formal establishment and assumption of the status as a Schedule 3A public entity. Establishing the BMA means South Africa now has an integrated border management platform with a single command and control to support the attainment of secure borders, safe travel and trade. To this end, the BMA has begun recruiting more than 400 unemployed youth in its second intake of border guards after enrolling initially 221 guards. In addition, the authority has also recruited 50 young coastal guards who will be deployed at vulnerable segments of our coastal projects to protect the country's marine resources. Government is working hard to secure resources to enable Border Management Authority to recruit additional border guards, particularly from unemployed youth. So many of the guards that you see there now were from the ranks of the unemployed, and they have been given proper training, and now they are doing a proper job as the guards in our borders. Honorable Chairperson, as government, we also continue to demonstrate our commitment to addressing the challenge of youth unemployment through employment programs implemented by law enforcement services, particularly the South African Police and the South African National Defence Force. To demonstrate this, during the 2022 medium-term expenditure framework, an additional 5.7 billion was allocated to SAPS to enlist 12,000 new employees to maintain the staff establishment. The staff establishment of SAPS is now 172,000 people. So now they've taken another 12,000. And they are going to add another 10,000. So we're currently taking 10,000 new trainees that are going to graduate at the end of this year. This recruitment drive is going to continue over the next 2 years. So in the 3-year period, we're bringing in a total of 30,000 new police officers on board. So, Chairpersons, whilst we note reports on shortages of skills and experience, engineers, pilots, etc., particularly in the South African Air Force, the Department of Military Veterans is looking at innovative ways to deal with the issue of the critical shortage of skills. So they are looking at their various departments and looking at what skills they can bring in. In this regard, the SANDF is continuing, working with the South African Air Force to recruit young engineers, trainee pilots, and so on. It is therefore not true that government has failed to address the issue of skills shortages in these services. We are confident that these targeted programs will continue strengthening the government's efforts to create employment opportunities for young people, especially those who are not in higher education, and ensure that they are trained to get into these activities. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The first supplementary question will come from Honorable Hadebe.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Deputy President. The SANDF and the subs are currently faced with a lack of resources and a shortage of personnel despite being crucial armed services in the country. I would like to know, Deputy President, how the allocation of resources towards the BMA will be determined in relation to those of the other armed services, and what steps have been taken to ensure that this newly formed armed service, BMA, does not suffer the same fate whilst we continuously see a high rate of youth unemployment. Thank you.
Deputy President.
Well, thank you, Chairperson. The BMA is what I may call the new kid on the block, so to speak. But they have a very specific, important role to play. And you will recall that the Minister of Home Affairs drove this very hard to reach where we are. And I'm convinced that it will continue to get the kind of attention it is receiving now. It will not be relocated to the sites. Of course, one of the approaches that we are taking is to ensure integration. So you don't have the police doing something else, BMA. So if we can bring a lot of these forces together, because if you go to the borders, for instance, you'll find that the SANDF is there, the police are there, and then these new recruits who are really what we call the guards, but they are being given proper skills. And one commitment that the President has made when the Minister of Home Affairs gave a report on progress on this matter is to ensure that we do ensure that the issue of additional recruits is also on the table, not only in the police, but also with these guards, because they are not enough. We do know, of course, that our borders are also very vast. You cannot deal with it only through deployment of personnel. So you'll need other forms of deployment, using other technological innovation to deal with a problem like having to use drones and so on to manage security along the borders. But of course, training of personnel is going to continue on, and the Border Management Authority is being given the necessary attention by the President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And now to the second supplementary question from Honorable Paternoster.
Deputy President, you might recognize this document.
Yes, I remember.
You recognize this? Deputy President, let me go to die geel kant van die bladsy. And I'm going to quote for you. Hierso op die internet. This is the 2019 ANC election manifesto, where the ANC promised South Africa that it will create. Protect me, please, Chair.
Honorable members, of course, I know that Honorable Rost heckles a bit, but let's listen to what he has to say. Please proceed.
Consider yourself spoken to. I'll start again. In 2019, the ANC promised South Africa that it will create 275,000 jobs extra each year. And, quoting from this document, massively increase internship and training opportunities for young people. The reality is, Deputy President, that youth unemployment has surged to a tragic 60.7% in the second quarter of 2023. We bear the ignominious distinction of being the most abysmal performer when it comes to youth unemployment, second only to Djibouti. We are currently the country with the second highest youth unemployment rate in the world. That's courtesy of 29 years of ANC rule. In stark contrast, during just the first quarter of 2023, the DA-run Western Cape created 62,000 jobs. Good policies, Deputy President, deliver good job opportunities. I'm going to have to ask you again, Chair, please. I can't speak if somebody else is speaking over me.
I've always maintained, honourable members, I've always said, honourable members, that there is no problem with heckling and so on.
Okay,
but when you heckle to the extent that we can't hear what the speaker is saying, then it becomes a problem.
The truth must hurt a lot. Anyway, let's continue. Good policies deliver good opportunities. The Work and Skills Program and the Business Process Outsourcing Skills Development Project offer unemployed youth valuable hands-on training in the Western Cape, boosting their employment prospects hugely. These programs show how the DA's approach to governance can deliver actual positive results in a very short space of time. Let me say this again, Deputy President. Good policies deliver good opportunities. The question is, though, what will you be promising young job-seeking voters this time around in your 2023 election manifesto? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. It is true that we have not achieved the level of growth in our economy that we had initially intended. Honourable Member will recall that shortly after 2019, we were hit with COVID-19. No, it's the truth. It's the truth. We had to literally shut down the economy. You are not listening to me. You said in 2019, this is what we said. Now, I'm saying shortly afterwards, we were hit with this reality. And what has happened is that because COVID-19 affected the whole world, including ourselves, it means that our growth trajectory was affected. Fact. We had to revise what are we going to do now. You will recall, Honourable Member, that there was a time when the President told you to stay at home. No, I'm saying you will recall that. Now, during that period where people could not go out, it means we were not productive. Businesses closed down, people stayed at home because we had this terrible pandemic that we're fighting. Nevertheless, Honourable Member, we then came back and adopted the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan. And that's important. You understand the choice of words, recovery and reconstruction. We had to recover from that problem. And interestingly, I don't know if you did follow, if you followed the stats this year, interestingly is that as we recover, the economy is beginning to do better. The second quarter of this year, we had a growth of 4% of GDP, and in the third quarter, 6%. So it means we are beginning to recover. And as we recover, we will then deal with the ills that you were mentioning, high levels of unemployment and so on. In fact, employment is also on the positive. But because we're dealing with a bigger problem of unemployment, it will look like it's, just a small achievement. But we were worried ourselves that after this, it will take long. But the economy is beginning to change. What we need to do is to accelerate. No, not change government, to accelerate. The government must accelerate this pace because the economy is now changing, is going to the positive, and we are doing so. We are putting more plans, more efforts, and I have no doubt, Chairperson, that we will succeed.
No, thank you very much. I'm sure everybody realizes that Honorable President Host is really like a professional heckler. He doesn't want to be heckled, but he continues to do the same thing. No, thank you very much. I will move on to the third supplementary question from Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Dlamini?
I'll check the chairperson. Chairperson?
Yes.
It's Lee.
Oh, yes. Well, okay.
Kalebo. Unemployment is the most important challenge that young people are facing in this country. So much that many of our people are choosing to search for jobs in other countries, in other parts of the world. In light of this, has the Deputy President intervened in any of the deaths of South African youth who have lost their lives migrating to other countries looking for unemployment, such as case of Lusanda Sixakleni, the South African teacher who died in China last month?
Thank you very much, Honorable He. Deputy President.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Honorable Member. South Africans have been going all over the world seeking for opportunities. You may have noticed that in the past few years, there are a lot of our doctors who went to Canada. There are a lot of nurses who have been going to the UAE, etc. And because people have freedom of movement, they have skills, they see opportunities elsewhere, I don't think government should stop them from exercising those opportunities. But of course, you are quite right that sometimes they get into these countries and it's not all that rosy, or sometimes they get into trouble. As you say, some have died in faraway lands. Our government is a caring government. If there's a South African elsewhere in the country who has gotten into trouble, or somebody passes away, far away from home, our government does assist to ensure that our embassies will work with the families of those people to assist them. I'm not sure in the particular case you're referring to what the details are. We can check. But in most cases, we do assist. But I think the gist of your question is that South Africans live for greener pastures, but get into problems. We would like to keep a lot of our professionals here, and a lot of them are here, but I don't think we can take an attitude that nobody should go. We are part of the global world, and our people must, if they want to work in other countries, they should be able to do so. But one of the issues that we have emphasized is that when we give young people bursaries as government to train as doctors or engineers, we'd like them to work here, particularly for government, at least for the first few years of their lives, because they are then giving back to society that supported them. But in the later years, they can go anywhere they want. But indeed, if there's a South African who has difficulties elsewhere, we can't close our eyes. We will assist and work with their families. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The last supplementary question comes from Honorable Shaik.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and greetings, Honorable Deputy President. Deputy President, we commend the effort by our government to strengthen security and tighten our border management and deal with illegal immigration and smuggling of goods in and out of the country through the launch of the Border Management Authority. We must acknowledge the employment of youth through the Border Management Authority, through the South African Police Services, as well as the South African National Defence Force. But we must also acknowledge the scale of unemployment amongst the youth is very high and requires all sectors of our society to work together and collaborate with government to create economic opportunities and absorb young people into the world of work to develop work experience. Deputy President, what role do you think can be played by the private sector and other sectors of society to help in reducing youth unemployment? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shaik. Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Sheikh, one of the things that government did in the past few years was to emphasize social compacts. So the President said the way to succeed in the transformation of our country, growing the economy, there should be social compact. And one of them was to work with labor, the private sector, to look at the issue of skills. So the President has asked me to chair what we call the Human Resource Development Council, and labor is there. Civil society is there, business is there. So we are working together. In fact, we do help to drive that process jointly. So labor and civil society are not junior partners. They work with us at the senior level where we drive this together. This is a recognition that if you are to have requisite skills in abundance in the country, it can't just be government alone. So you're quite right. We need business to come in. We need labor to come in, but also civil society. So it's a collaborative effort, really, that we do need. The President has also launched what is called the Presidential Youth Employment Intervention. Very important intervention. We create opportunities for young people. They get skills and opportunities. So those interventions, I think, are going to assist to achieve that objective, driven by also the Human Resource Development Council. But you'll recall that in the past few years, we have invested a lot in public-private partnerships as government. If you look at some of the big projects that we have been doing in the country, it's public-private partnerships where government says, look, we can do this, but the private sector can come in, and together we can roll out these projects and achieve our objectives. So I think those interventions are going to help us to ensure that we achieve our objectives working in collaboration. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. Our next question is question 23. This question is on accessibility of Mossel Bay Harbour. The question is from Honorable J.J. Lont and is directed to the Deputy President. Honorable Deputy President.
Honorable Chairperson, thank you very much. According to the second quarter gross domestic product report issued by Stats SA in September of this year, the agriculture, forestry and fishing industry has in fact increased by 4% or 4.2% in the second quarter of this year, contributing about 0.1% of GDP. Increases in the production of field crops and horticulture products mainly drove the rise of this output. Favorable weather conditions, increased cultivation, and increased export demand also provided further support. In this regard, the port of Mossel Bay has been identified by the agricultural sector as one of the key strategic points in the market-oriented agriculture economy. The improvement of the operational capacity of Mossel Bay Harbour also formed part of the implementation of the economic reconstruction and recovery plan that I spoke about earlier, which is aimed at, amongst other things, modernizing and reforming network industries and associated state-owned enterprises. Moreover, this plan further pursues greater regional integration to boost exports, create employment opportunities, and improve innovation. Because we have been emphasizing, Honorable Chairperson, that regional integration is very important because South Africa is always seen as a gateway into the continent. So working with SADC countries is critical in this regard. So as government, we have developed plans to improve our operational capacity to support the agricultural sector market and our export capacity, which includes deepening and expansion of the loading platform, which they call K4 or K4 by Transnet at Mossel Bay Harbour, which will serve as a berth for multi-purpose cargo. According to the Ministry of Public Enterprises, the improvement of the operational capacity of Mossel Bay Harbour is a long-term project. Therefore, concepts and designs are continuously being refined. The first phase is planned for completion by the end of 2026-27 financial year, while the first step is scheduled for completion by 2029-2030 financial year. So the plans are now in place and the roadmap is in place, and the Mossel Bay Harbour capacity will be improved because we regard it as key and strategic for the agricultural sector in our country. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The first supplementary question go to Honorable Lont.
Honorable Deputy Chairperson, thank you for your response. There's a saying that goes, the devil is in the detail, and we've experienced in the past, not too far from here at the Clan William Dam, where deadlines was put for the completion of the lifting of a dam, and now that has been extended and extended and extended, and now it's 10 plus years behind schedule. Now, as you correctly stated, this is going to help tremendously unlock the economy. Not just the agricultural economy. We have Petro SA that's on the doorstep that can tap into that. We have a tourism market that is waiting to have international cruise ships coming in there, customs officials actually being stationed there, and let that market explode and the knock-on effect that has. We have a vibrant, like we said, rural and local economy there, and we actually have a competent local government there that will facilitate and make sure that this full potential and impact is felt. However, because we have had so many experiences of promises that is not fulfilled, we now have a firm commitment from you that the first phase will be done by 2026, 2027. Will you please commit to come and do an oversight, not just once and not just at the end, but regular oversight so that we make sure that that market and that mandate that currently falls under you is met, and we truly unlock that potential and make sure that that rural economy truly reaches what it should be. And if you are committed to doing that oversight, can you give us dates to say when you will come, and then we can have those follow-up visits to make sure that both you and me can be held accountable by the residents? Because if we don't give firm deadlines and commitments, it's easy to slide away from an answer. So now I've got a firm date. I need a firm commitment from oversight and visits, please.
Deputy President.
Do you come from that area? Oh, I see. Yeah, I'll go with you then. we should go. But let me assure you that these are not empty promises. I think the President is very clear about these time frames. We have to get this done. I am, in fact, going to be visiting that area at some point, but I think it will be good to go and see what's happening. But we will work with those who are responsible to ensure that this facility is completed within the time frame that we have set. As I said earlier, it's very strategic for us. It's very strategic for the agricultural sector. We have to get this done. So Chairperson, let me assure Honorable Lloyd that we will push to ensure that this work is done within the time frame that we have set for ourselves. And I agree with you that we need regular monitoring. In fact, what we have done now, the President, as you may know, has appointed a minister in the Presidency who deals with monitoring and evaluation of all projects. So I'm working with her very closely, so we're going to look into this project, make sure it succeeds. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. The next supplementary question will come from Honorable L.N. Moss. Honorable Moss.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the House. Thank you very much, the Honorable Deputy President. Good afternoon. We know that Mossel Bay Harbour is used for some functions, such as commercial cargo, included oil. We are encouraged that the government have a plan to further develop the harbour to make it efficient. We are also encouraged that the ANC-led government is committed to work with small-scale fishing communities and small-scale farmers to succeed and also access international markets through that harbour. My question is, Chairperson, what is the democratic government currently doing to assist small-scale farmers and also small-scale fisheries towards agricultural players in exporting their agricultural products in a cost-effective manner? And I must say, Deputy President, not only agriculture is close to my heart, small-scale fishing is very, very close to my heart. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Moss, I'm happy to hear that small-scale farming, fishing is deep in your heart. Because I know that those people, sometimes they feel neglected. So with you feeling that way, I know we are on the right track. Because it's important that we sort out these facilities to assist these small businesses as well, because they also are involved in exports as well. Because sometimes when we talk export, we just think big companies, but the products of the small fishery or fishers do also form part of those exports. I mean, the Minister of Trade spoke about 330 billion rand of export products. It includes that as well. So what we have done, Honorable Moss, we have adopted what we call the Agriculture and Agro-Processing Master Plan. This master plan is also part of the social compacts. In other words, it also brings in the private sector on board, civil society, to make sure that this work succeeds. So I can assure you that we will attend to all issues that are affecting businesses in that area, including small investors or businesses that are busy in fishing and so on. But it is part of these social compacts. We are going to make sure that it does succeed. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The next supplementary question comes from Honorable Detroit.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Deputy President, it's good to hear that the construction will start very soon at the Mossel Bay Harbour, but what's concerning, Honorable Deputy President, is the fact that you mentioned that the plans are there, but it will be altered or amended, if I can use the word, as we go on. Now, that sounds a lot like the Medupi and Kusile power stations. I do not know what the current budget is for the revitalization of the Mossel Bay Harbour, but what I do know was the initial cost of Medupi was about 80 billion rand in 27, and that was revised in 2013 to 154 billion, and again in 2019 to 234 billion. We're standing currently more than 300 billion rand with a power station that's not working optimally. So, Honourable Deputy President, can you perhaps state why we do not have finalised plans for the revitalisation of the Mossel Bay Harbour, and what the final costs will be estimated for that project? Thank you.
Deputy President.
Well, I don't have all the details readily available, but the Transnet National Port Authority has indicated that they will be spending, if I recall, closer to 16 billion rands in the period of 7 years. So I'm hoping that this projection will not do what you're suggesting with Medupi. We will make sure that 16 billion does not become 30 billion. We are going to make sure that as they projected, we get started with the work, the plans have been started, and we complete within the time frame. Obviously, the issue of amending as we go, the reason we use language like that is that, when you deal with infrastructure projects, they have escalations. You know that, right? They have escalations. So it's not that we're going to stop and make big changes, but it may well be that there will be other escalations that may kick in. But we were going to try and do it within budget as projected. But I've had that experience before where in some project, something that you had not anticipated comes up and suddenly shoot your prices a bit higher. But I think maybe the important thing we should commit is that we have a budget, we have a time frame, let's do it within that time frame with that budget. May change slightly because of other implications or unforeseen circumstances. And these things happen. Honorable Dango will recall when we did How Train and we're doing underground, and suddenly we came through serious stone. And when we thought we could do a project with 18 billion, it went to 26 billion. And those are realities. But we're going to try and ensure that within the time frame, like we did with How Train, we said we will do it in this period, and we did. So Mossel Bay will be completed within the time frame as planned. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Now, for the last supplementary question from Honorable Taffen. Honorable Taffen.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, House Chairperson. Deputy President, it is alarming to note that when it comes to the payment of social grant, technically, glitches have become the order of the day.
Chairperson, on a point of order, quickly. Follow.
Honorable Makwala, what's the point of order?
No, Chairperson, I don't know if you didn't get an updated one. That was my last supplementary question to reply, because Honorable Tafeni now is replying on question 24.
Question 24 is
We're on 23. That one is mine. I don't know if you don't have, like you made the same mistake on Honorable Dihihi.
Honorable, yes.
Thank you, Honorable Makala.
Chair.
Thank you.
Chair, when you started, you read us the rules that we're going to have 4 questions. The first follow-up is from the person who has asked the original question. Honorable members are not in the House and they are not following. And we are allowed to do 1 follow-up. That was allocated to them. And it was the 4th follow-up question. Unfortunately, it's not your making, Chairperson, that they decided to read a wrong follow-up question. And now, they want the House.
Choma, no, you can't do that. The Chairperson didn't get an updated one. Then we have an updated one.
It will always
To
be
ask my
good for
question.
them to be exposed for what they are. If we are following the rules, of course we can be generous, Chair, and allow them to do the follow-up question. But it was nothing wrong to leave it to the Deputy President whether he's going to comment, because it's them that are messing up their House now. We're not talking about
No,
social
it's the chair
development.
of
They are totally out
It's
of
the chair
order.
of
It is unprecedented that you can have people from same party calling each other point of order. It's my first experience.
You are out of order, Mr. John.
Honorable members, it does seem as if there's some misunderstanding. In the name of peace and progress, we'll allow Honorable Makwala to raise the question.
Thank you,
Makwala?
Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. I know that that Honorable doesn't want me to speak because he knows that Deputy President, you know, I'm very much concerned when Honorable Lont is inviting you to Mossel Bay. where they are busy stealing our people's RTP houses and want you to trust the administration of that municipality. But in terms of my question, in relation to the government coordination with agencies responsible for land reform, agriculture, fisheries, and transportation, what mechanism have been put in place to not only meet the needs of Mossel Bay Harbour, but also meet the needs of local farmers so that they may contribute to international markets? And secondly, noting the costly delays that are often occurred in upgrading and maintenance projects, what mechanism have been put in place so that the harbour does not fall victim to procedural delays which often occur under the ANC administration? Thank you very much. And a proper good.
No, thank you very much, Deputy President.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Makwala said there are other challenges in Mossel Bay that he's worried about. So when we go down there, he might want to join us.
Most definitely, President.
Yes, most definitely. Honorable Makwala, let me say that I did say earlier on that when we improve these facilities, we are doing so particularly because we want to benefit the producers. So in this regard, the agricultural products that must go through this harbor are products that come from the farmers. So we're doing it for them. So it's important that we must make sure that we succeed, because as they produce, if the harbor is not working, export products can't leave. So it's important that we're putting this emphasis. But secondly, we do have a monitoring and evaluation mechanism that is led by the minister in the presidency. So the reason why the president decided that we need this is because often projects delay. President goes to SONA, announces, and then 2-3 years later, things are not moving. Now we have a minister who is there on the ground, who talks to departments, to agencies, state-owned enterprises to say, these are the time frame, where are you now? We need reports, they must go to cabinet. So we are going to make sure that monitoring and evaluation is rigorously implemented. There's no more time to get President to talk at SONA on projects that are not moving. We are monitoring everybody, and they are reporting regularly to Minister Ramokop Marupin on this work to ensure that it happens. And Mossel Bay will be included in that package. I'm sure she will also go and see what's happening down there, so to be able to hold those that are responsible accountable and make sure that they do their work. And I'm sure if we do it that way, there can be no project that is, left behind. The people are dragging their feet. Things will be done on time. I'm convinced that that will work. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
No, thank you very much, Deputy President. We'll now move on to the last question for the day. This question is number 2323. The question is on accessibility.
Is it not
24?
Yes,
24. It's question number 24.
24, yes.
This question is on payment of social grants. The question is from Honorable Ndongeni to the Deputy President. Social grants. Last question. Deputy President.
Okay, that's what Honorable Tafeni was rising on. Honorable Tafeni, we are now there.
I'm here, Deputy President.
Wait for me, I'm here. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, as government, we regret the recent glitches in the payment of grants that affected several grant recipients. We fully understand the distress and suffering that resulted from this system glitch, which left recipients, especially older people, unable to access their grants on their SASSA post-bank cards. Government remains fully committed to timely and seamless payment of social grants to all beneficiaries. Honorable Chairperson, we can assure this House and the South African public that the matter is receiving necessary attention, and the President receives regular progress reports from the Ministers of Communication and Digital Technologies and Social Development. So these two ministers are reporting regularly to the President on this issue and how we're resolving it completely. We are pleased to inform this House that all the failed transactions have now been reversed and all affected beneficiaries have been refunded. The September system glitches have since been resolved, and all social grant beneficiaries affected by the payment delays have now received their payments. Chairperson, as part of measures to prevent recurrence, a task team comprising of these departments, that is the Department of Social Development and the Department of Communication Digital Technologies, the South African Social Security Agency, the Post Office, and the Post Bank have been set up to monitor and track the payment system in real time and to strengthen the Post Bank's technical infrastructure. Additional reinforcement measures will include the engagement of experts in the banking field for a comprehensive review of our grant payment system and continuous rectification of these vulnerabilities of this system. So this work has started, and as I said, this task team now is ensuring that this work happened and these ministers are reporting to the President. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. Our first supplementary question will come from Honorable Ndongeni, who will then be followed by Honorable Tafeni, and then Khadebe, and then Christians. Honorable Ndongeni.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Tafen, ndiyambona uba uyatsha unono. Ngoku akasakwazi nowulinda. Thank you, Honorable Deputy President, for the assurance that our caring democratic government is monitoring the situation and to prevent the recurrence of the glitches. Honorable President, the latest data shows that the number of South Africans with cell phones has increased from 32.3% in 2001 to 92.1% in 2022. The number of the households with access to the internet increased from 35.2% to 78.9% kulo rhulumente we-ANC. Here is my question, Deputy President. How will the envisaged review of the payment system ensure that grant recipients have a safe and a user-friendly access to their payouts?
Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Dongeni, thank you for the question. I did indicate earlier that there is now a task team that has been set up, constituted of the Department of Social Development, Communication, Digital Technologies, but also including the SASSA agency and also Post Office and Post Bank. So those people are part of that task team. They've just started the work, but one of the things that they reported about that they will look at ensuring the consistency of monthly payments so that we don't go wrong there. So that's the first thing. The second one is to look at the systems because I think I used the word glitch because it's a system. So they are going to do that. One of the things they have to do, the third one is to ensure card replacement so that, you know, when people are having these cards, they must work. You don't want to go to an ATM machine and you know the card is not working. We know this affects elderly people. Now they have to take a taxi or a bus to go somewhere else because the card is not working. So fixing the cards and ensuring that they look at everything around the cards. We just have to make sure that elderly people have cards that are working not with dates that have expired. I don't know if any honorable member have come across that problem. You get to an ATM and you can't get, and you realize later that even, card here, the date has passed. So we need to make sure that our elderly people have cards without dates that have expired, so that when they get there, they can get the money. One of the things the President has asked them to do is really to look at the overall overhauling of the system. We come from the old way of paying. Now we're in this new system, and we must make sure that it works. But I can assure you that this matter is being taken seriously by the President. These ministers have already reported, matter has reported to Cabinet, and the task team has been set up. So work is happening, and we are going to monitor very strongly to make sure that it does not happen again. And when you deal with systems, you do need technical people. That's why I indicated that we're bringing in people from the big banks as well, banking system. They've dealt with systems for many years, so they must come and assist the Post Bank to be able to ensure that the system works. There's nothing as frustrating and going to the bank and you can't get your money when you know you have it. So we really want this system to work. It must work, and it will be done. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honorable Tafeni.
Enkosi Chairperson, mandibulele kakhulu. Thank you, Deputy President. Some of your reply is touching my question. Deputy President, please, you must emphasize the follow-up in that department of SASSA, because there is a lot of corruption, more especially in the Eastern Cape. Abantu bahamba bahambe bayopeya babuye bengaphethanga mali. Even me, ndaphansi andazi Cape Town is because the assistant ngokuba ndibase kwaSASSA, ndibase eposini, ndibase TRC hall, zonke lozo ndawo akukho ncedo labo. As a result, kuthiwe mababuye on a Monday when it comes the week, is during the week. So please emphasize that follow-up in that department. I thank you, Chairperson.
Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Tafeni, thank you very much. We will look into that matter because, as you know, corruption touches many fields where we operate. Should there be indication that there's that challenge in the payment of grants, we will definitely look into it, especially as you say in the Eastern Cape. But I can assure you that this matter is being attended to make sure that our elderly are not put in that difficulty again. But the issue of corruption will definitely look into it. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honorable Khatebe.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Deputy President. Part of having a well-oiled and functional system at such a large scale requires constant routine interventions. I would like to know whether there are any routine trial runs of any kind before the distribution of social grants to ensure efficient rollouts and to mitigate any mass disruptions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Khatib, in fact, the relevant ministries or departments had actually tested the system before. But obviously, I'm not sure when you say routine intervention, meaning that it should be done again before payments. Because sometimes you test the system and then like, wow, it's working. And then at some point, there's a glitch. But I agree with you that various ways of checking where the glitch might come from, those are very important. And I think by bringing experts, we'll be able to pick up what is the actual problem. Because you know, one of the things why we chose to use the post bank with the post office, because they have a very extensive outreach. You know, in the places where you can't find a bank, you do find a post office, a post bank. So that's why we chose that system. And I think you're quite right. We should, now that we are using it, perhaps you are correct that there should be routine interventions to check because singavuka next month, but I land of food. So we need to avoid that by making sure that we check everything. Elderly people check if their cards are in order and so on, so that they don't get embarrassed on the day of payment. They go there, the card doesn't work. So yes, I will discuss this with the relevant ministers and see what method they are using to ensure that you can detect the problem earlier. I think that's the most important thing, rather than react later. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The last supplementary question from Honorable Christian.
Thank you, Chairperson. Deputy President, good afternoon. In your initial response, you had mentioned that all the payments that were not done in September were actually paid. But I can assure you, Minister, that's not the case. Because in my constituency in the Northern Cape, there are still people who have not been paid their September.
Sorry, how many?
At least 2 that I know of in the Northern Cape who have not been paid. 2 is too many.
Yes.
2 elderly people who have not received their money. But let me continue with my question, Deputy President. Given the alarming allegations surrounding Minister Zulu's actions, including her attempts to deploy close associates, questionable agreements with external organizations,
her inability to address critical staffing shortages of social workers, her failure to intervene in the defunding crisis of NGOs in Gauteng, as well as the distressing repeated social grant payment failures, it is imperative, Deputy President, for the government to prioritize the welfare and interests of South Africans' most vulnerable citizens. We firmly believe that it is in the country's best interest to conduct a comprehensive performance evaluation of the minister and take the necessary steps to ensure the well-being of citizens who depend on these social grants. With the mounting evidence of her incompetence, it has become increasingly clear that Minister Zulu is ill-equipped to resolve these pressing issues. Her department serves the most marginalized and impoverished individuals in our society. Consequently, it is concerning that there is no apparent consequences or accountability measures in place to hold Minister Zulu responsible for her department's persistent failures. Deputy President, when do you plan to initiate a discussion with Minister Zulu concerning her performance agreement, given your authority as a key member of the country's executive? Thank you, Deputy President. But just lastly, can I ask you, Deputy President, it's a general question, if you'll allow me. Will you be watching? Can I be protected, Chairperson? Deputy President.
Honorable members, we have to exercise a bit of patience and hear what the Honorable
Deputy
Christian is saying.
President, where will you be watching the rugby? Where will you be watching the rugby over the weekend? And what do you predict? What will the score be?
Okay, thank you very much. Deputy President.
Well, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will be watching rugby on Saturday, and I'll be supporting the Bokke. You know, when the Bokke goes into a match, they go in to win. So I'm looking forward to that win. In fact, the president is leaving tomorrow to go and cheer them up. So we need a good score, but anything in rugby, if you are 1 point ahead, it's fine. If it's 11-10, it's fine. If it's a good margin, we are even more happy. Let me agree with you that 2 people are too many. We are dealing with elderly people here. So we take it very serious because some of them, if you check where they are, this grant, they live on it. So it means if they don't have it, they can't buy bread, they can't buy food. So what we're going to do, I'm going to ask my office to quickly check when we live here, what's happening in the Northern Cape. What is this problem? Because the report we receive is that everybody has now been paid. So we will follow that up because it's important that everybody should be paid. Yes, and I've already said because the payment to elderly people is very important, so I think we must make sure that everybody is paid. What was your other question? The performance. Oh, yeah. And let's put it this way. You see, ministers are appointed by the president. So I think let's not deal with that one today. Let's let it go to the right place. I think you know where it is. I would not want to dwell in that, but Honorable Chairperson, thank you very much for the question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Deputy President. As the Deputy President takes his seat, we'll do well to thank the Deputy President for availing himself, and also to thank the permanent delegates, MECs, special delegates, and SALGA representatives for availing themselves for the sitting. Honorable delegates, that concludes business of the day. The House is now adjourned.